The heated Florida races have now been declared over, and Ron DeSantis has been elected governor again.
What a remarkable comeback story. Joining us right now to discuss this victory is Governor-elect Ron DeSantis. Governor, anything but easy, but were there any doubts in the interim from Election Day to today that you'd be at this moment Governor-elect of Florida?
No, I mean, look, it's the only thing better than being elected governor of Florida is being elected twice in 2 weeks. And so, you know, we had a margin on election night. It was a close race, but it was definitive that I had won. And even with some of the votes that turned up in Broward, I mean, my margin was significant enough. We knew the machine recount was not going to change it, and it didn't. And I also had confidence that Governor Scott would end up winning the recount, both the manual and machine recount there. So I think that's great that it happened and that we're moving on now. Obviously, we're going to have to address some of the problems with the election administration in places like Broward and Palm Beach County. I think it's good that Brenda Snipes has submitted her resignation. There was no way as governor that I was going to let her preside over another election down there after all the problems that they had. So we had 65 counties do a good job. We had 2 that dropped the ball. We want to make sure all 67 counties do these elections in a fair way.
What happens next? You'll appoint someone to take over for Dr. Snipes?
It depends on when her resignation is effective. I heard it was going to be effective sometime in early January, about the time I'm being sworn in. So, yeah, then that'll fall to me to appoint her replacement. If she has resigned immediately, then Governor Scott would have a window to appoint it before he leaves office.
Well, Mr. DeSantis, what do you make of the fact that these races, not only Senate, but governor and ag commissioner, were so close? What does that say about Florida? That the state is pretty much split right down the middle, 50-50? Or that the state is just bad at counting?
No, look, it's always been a competitive state. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. Donald Trump won Florida by a couple points. Barack Obama in 2012, I think it was like 0.5%. Yeah. And so that's just how Florida elections are. The Democrats turned out way more voters than they did in 2014. But I think what we did on the Republican side is we made sure we turned out our voters. So there kind of was a blue wave. We just were able to overcome it.
Andrew Gillum was called by the President of the United States a force to be reckoned with. No one doubts his talent, composure, and charisma on the stump. What was he like to compete against?
Well, he was a very formidable opponent, and I said that from the beginning. I mean, you know, no one thought he could win the Democratic primary, but if you watched him, he out-debated all those people. He was the only one that inspired anybody with enthusiasm, and I think the fact that he was their nominee, he was really responsible for driving a lot of these Democrats to vote who don't normally vote in midterm elections, and so it was tough. It was a tough fight.
What's on the agenda for you? What do you plan on doing when you're sworn in?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to baby-proof the governor's mansion because I have a 2-year-old daughter and an 8-month-old son, and so we want to make sure that, you know, there's all kind of Florida history in there, and I don't want my daughter bringing that crashing down. But we've got a lot to do from economic development. We're going to do a lot of education reform. I'm going to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. Basically, as soon as I take office, we're going to have to look and make sure our elections are run well. And so there's a whole host of things we're going to be able to do. It's going to be an exciting time in Florida.
I saw your ad that showed your child in it, and you were reading them Art of the Deal. How much did the president help you get over the finish line?
Well, he did 2 big rallies in Florida down the stretch, one in Southwest Florida and one in Northwest Florida. And I think if you look at the type of turnout we were able to generate, I think a lot of his voters he was able to activate and bring them out. And so I think that he played a very, very important role in this. And you look throughout the country, these races where he was campaigning, Missouri, North Dakota, these places, all those candidates won. And so, you know, I think Donald Trump has a very good base of support in the state of Florida and in some of these other states where he was able to help engineer these victories.
All right. So no doubt about it, in Florida, he had a huge impact in the Senate race and the governor's race. Governor-elect Ron DeSantis, congratulations.
Congratulations.
What a story. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.